Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Really, really well. Good to see you. How are you?
Good. I'm very good. Just had
Good.
a lovely holiday, so I'm super chill.
She's good to go. Look at that smile. You can't see it on a podcast, but I guarantee you she's got a really nice smile on her face,
Thank
which is
you.
nice because that's kind of the antithesis of what we're dealing with today. So it's a good place to start from.
It
I'd like to
is.
talk about disappointment today.
Mm,
Mm,
disappointment. Oh, it's
I
really,
know. It's visceral, isn't it? Like you say
yeah.
the word and immediately your body just goes,
Oh,
"Ugh," and it
mm,
slumps, doesn't it?
heavy.
You
Yeah.
can't see us on a podcast, but we are shoulders down, like slumped over, like the whole
Mm.
face droopy. And it's just a downward kind of pressing energy.
Mm.
But tell me, what does disappointment mean to you? What is it?
Well, it's about expectation, is it not being met? That's essentially
Mhm.
what's going on. We have needs and expectations, and when things don't work out the way you think they're going to be, they're going to. That disappointment, as you say, it's this visceral sort of feeling of failure.
Yeah.
I got it wrong somehow, or they got it wrong, being let down, and that leads into they don't care about me. I'm not loved. I'm not worth anything.
Yeah.
Nothing works out for me. As you said, that negative spiral can just kick in with that.
Mm.
Things not being just the right way, just being perfect.
That's it. And the reason I asked you first is because I would put money on if you asked 1,000 people what disappointment meant to them, you get a different answer every time
Mm.
because it's so all encompassing. Like there's the internal disappointment itself, there's the disappointment in other people, there's disappointment in the world at large, like you said, the collective, other. I mean, I'm not going to get into all the finite details of that because it could bring some stuff up for people, but suffice to say, this whole standard of it's less than something. I'm disappointed because it hasn't met an expectation, like you say. And my first question to anybody listening is, whose expectations are those that you are trying
Mm.
to live up to, if it's you? Or,
Yeah.
who set that bar? Because society at large, especially right now, I believe is responsible for setting, you know, um, this kind of bar for what should happen in any given
Mm.
situation, what people should say, what people should do, think, feel, believe, whatever. And
Mm.
then so that's external to you. Then you've got your family paradigm, which most of the time people carry around unwittingly,
Yeah.
until they deal with it, right? So the family paradigm comes along and goes, no, people like us do this, earn that, feel that, marry these people, blah, 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 blah. So you've got all this
Mm.
unconscious stuff going on,
Mhm.
and you can get disappointed in yourself before you even kind of,
Yeah. If you
get
feel like the
it's
black sheep, or I don't like doing it that way, or even if I like that, but not that, it's like it can be so specific, as you say,
yeah,
to different people, different situations. And as we've said before, we both kind of people pleasers. A lot of people are. Like, if I bend myself out of shape to fit into this,
yeah,
then I won't feel disappointed because they'll be okay. Then they won't be disappointed in me. I'll be ticking the box. I'll be getting it right. But yeah, we have this sort of there's somebody with an imaginary clipboard judging us. Like, who is
yes.
that person?
Oh
No one
my
is doing that.
God.
Exactly. No, minus 10 points, not good enough. Like,
Oh,
yes, no, heaven or hell, no, no, no. Like,
yes. You
it's
don't get a gold star today, dear.
no, exactly. Try harder.
Yeah.
Which, the benefit of that is always, like, evolution is always about staying in the group, staying safe. If we're out on the wilds on our own, we're not going to survive. So it's all about, we need to fit in
Mm.
so that we're not kicked out of society. But yeah, society is, I mean, the result of thousands of years of
Yeah.
religion, of opinion, of this, that, and the other, tradition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Traditions get stuck. I'm not going to stop going down that road either, because
That's
that's
an
a big can
entirely
of
different
worms.
series.
That is a whole other
Yes.
world.
And we are
But
inclusive and non-denominational. Let's just put it out there
exactly,
right
we
now.
love everybody.
There's no judgment. And,
Exactly.
you know,
And
there
what
is
is the
evidence
result
of,
of that? Yeah,
yeah,
the I'm not getting it right,
yes.
or
Yeah.
something is wrong somewhere,
Yeah.
and the drivers underneath that is the disappointment, isn't it?
And that's the thing, you can have all these surface symptoms, if you like, you know, feeling feeling disappointed can be a surface symptom. When you boil that down, ultimately what's at the bottom of that is I'm either not good enough myself, or I'm unlovable, or, you know, I'm a burden, or one of these fundamental, like if you've read Gay Hendricks, The Big Leap, you know, he talks about the upper limit problems, the four main ones, which is I'm a burden, I'm good, it's not safe for other people around me if I'm successful, I'm unlovable, and I'm not, you know, or I'm not worthy, whatever they are. And if you boil anything like that down, it will come down to something really fundamental that somebody carries as a core belief. And oftentimes, what do they say? 90% of the time we live on autopilot, right? So you're actually getting disappointed in yourself, other people, situations, conversations, relationships, probably from an 80-90% unconscious footing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got expectations. You don't know we have expectations. They're just, you know,
just creep in, don't they? Like a college.
Yeah. And even if you do, you know, you're going to, I don't know, you're going out for dinner somewhere really swanky, somewhere new, and, you know, they don't cook it right. Like, that disappointment's going to be there. You didn't know that was necessarily, you know, going to be an expectation that you have. So stuff happens, isn't it? We don't know when it's going to happen. Like, you might leave on time, I'm always saying this one, leave on time and you get held up.
Yeah.
Who am I letting down? The pressure that comes with that. You know, it's everywhere. Expectation leads to disappointment always.
Indeed. And when it swings the other way, we can fight so hard to not be disappointed in ourselves and others that it can lead to perfectionism. The difficulty is, I think, with disappointment is, you know, I see it as it's at the core of a lot of other feelings. So when I get disappointed, the way it shows up for me is I feel frustrated instantly. I get frustrated because things are out of alignment for me. That's my human design, because I'm a 2-4 Manny Jenny, and that's just how I don't know much about human design, but that's how my gates work, apparently. I don't know, go figure. But that's how it feels to me. So how does it feel to you generally when you're disappointed?
Well, I feel everything in my tummy. But it's that kind of heaviness, that sort of sadness that goes along with disappointment as well. And I'm trying to think of when I've felt it. But that just a heavy pulling down.
A big sigh. Gotcha. And you know, if you're listening along, I would invite you to feel into how that feels for you as well. So think about the last time you felt really disappointed in someone or something or whatever, and just notice, because there's everything that we do here on the Emotions Unlocked podcast. Everything is about the mind-body connection, right? Because your emotions are your signposts. And so your body will tell you how that's showing up for you. Like for me, it's like frustration. It's like, again, it's in the pit of the stomach. And because anything like that, any lower vibrational feeling can be a form of a stress response, right? So when people get disappointed and then it spirals because we tell ourselves stories based on the beliefs that we're carrying or whatever, or that we've been indoctrinated into, it can roll forward into anything. And even the well-intentioned things like people pleasing, making sure everybody's happy, right, above and beyond us, and perfectionism, right? We want to do a good job, because the pain of that disappointment, it's too much to bear because of what it really means, or what we've made it mean about us.
Yeah. And the other side of that is that if you have a belief about yourself, you're going to have a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to create situations to fill that disappointment. For example, okay, I'm not going to eat any chocolate today. Oh no, I got to the end, or I'm not going to have a glass of wine. Oh, but it's Friday night. Oh, and then the next day, oh, what are you doing that for? You know, the same voice will tell you off. It's the same voice that tells you to have another glass of wine, will be the same one that goes, well, you shouldn't have done that. Well, of course you feel you've got a hangover. Do you know what I mean? It's this kind of,
it's hypocritical, that little voice, isn't it?
And it's like, basically we have a belief that we're not good enough, which isn't true. So the mind will create patterns to go to, and situations to say, well, you aren't good enough because you did that. So that must be proof that you aren't good enough. If you remove the belief that you're not good enough and know that you are good enough, you can just enjoy what's happening, or just make choices. You know, it's a weird kind of paradox, isn't it?
It really is. And it can be quite hard to neutralize. Now, I'm not going to say for a second that tapping with us for 10, 15 minutes today is going to clear all of your self-belief issues and you will never be disappointed again. Caveat, that's not going to happen.
And you need to feel disappointed as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because that gives you a yardstick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it can be really healthy. For me, the bit that we need to take out, like you just said, is the story we tell ourselves about what that means about us. When you can look at it as, well, I was expecting this. So let's say I wanted this meal to be an 8 out of 10. It was a 5. I'm disappointed. It means nothing about me that I chose this restaurant, right?
Yeah.
I can't control it. It's out of my control. I'm still a perfectly good person. Jog on. Let's go somewhere else to put in, right?
Exactly.
It have to be
How do we respond to that rather than sit crying and having a go at the chef who might have had a bad day? Who knows?
Exactly.
And the other side of that, if you went out not having an expectation, like, oh, there's this new place, should we try it? And then you have this amazing meal, like the opposite of that, the excitement and the joy that can be this that created from that.
I have a great example of that, actually. You know, we went to Skegness, sorry. I call it Skeggy as a little affectionate term. We went away for a few days where we were having some flooring done at home, and we were staying in this B&B, which was self-contained apartments, which was lovely. And the hostess recommended this Italian restaurant down the road. Now, from the outside, you'd look at it and go, not sure. I swear to you, Jemima, it was the best meal. Doesn't matter Italian or not, the best meal I've ever had. And I literally said to Jason, it's like a 2-hour drive each way. I said, we're coming back here for the evening. Like, I'll drive 4 hours. Like, I don't care. It was that good, like a 50 hour.
I think I might. Wow.
Literally, remembering it is making my mouth water.
You are dribbling.
I am. I'm literally dribbling, which is lovely. Wow. Very attractive. But again, that perception of that was so much better than I anticipated.
Yeah.
You know, it can be so joyful. And it's my belief that the kind of antidote to disappointment is curiosity.
Yeah.
Because when you come at things with a curious mind, it's like, I wonder how this is going to be. I wonder how good this can get. Right. Yeah. Then all of a sudden you can't see me on the podcast, obviously, but I'm spreading my arms wide and I'm leaning back to kind of denote that you're in a receiving mode. Yeah. Because the universe is magnetic. And when you tell the universe, oh, typical, this is crap, everything, and you get into that whole thing, negative thought cycles catch on and you decide and you go further down the emotional guidance scale. And before you know it, everything's rubbish. You're a naff person and you don't deserve it anyway. Right. Yeah. If you lean back into your own channel and you go, I wonder how good this can be. I'm just going to drop.
I'm going to find the joy. I'm going to look for the good stuff, find the gold.
And then it comes rushing in because you've trained the universe that you are expecting something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the sun coming out. You know, you suddenly see other trees, other things, other places, you know, light landing on things that you went saying, oh, wow, look at that. It's beautiful in the light. Like,
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Just look at this. That's amazing. And one last thing before we do some tapping real quick is that the way that you will, so there's one way that disappointment, sadness, loss and disappointment shows up in people's lives is in your money. So if you have your savings account and you either have a nice round number in it, she says, making a 0 with my hand, or even if you have now, and this is no word of a lie, I was on a sales call with a client who said that she wasn't going to sign up to my coaching because it was too expensive at £2,000 and she had nearly $400,000 in the bank. So, and there's no judgment me saying that. It's just an illustration of it doesn't matter how much money you've got. If you don't feel safe with that amount of money, you will be in contraction mode.
Absolutely.
Right? But we manifest our money to match the emotions that are already in our nervous system that are hardwired in. So if you've had a lot of sadness, loss, and disappointment in your life in the past, it manifests in either no or very disappointing savings. Yeah. It's really bizarre, isn't it? When people hear that for the first time, they go, what? How could that happen?
Exactly. Yeah.
Our body is all
a reflection of
safe
of your value of what you expect. Yeah. And I bet even Elon Musk, you know, he lost whatever 48 million overnight or something a couple of years ago. He's got, you know, billions and billions and billions. I bet he has that fear. You know, how do you amass that amount of money? It's a lot of drive around money. There's a lot of need. I don't know him. No judgment. Again, like I don't know what his beliefs are. But, you know, the more you have, the more that disappointment, the fear is going to be matching that.
Absolutely. And your brain only wants to keep you safe. And so it manifests experiences that match the emotions, even if that emotion is awful, because then you feel safe, because the brain goes, well, we felt this way before and it kept us alive.
Yeah.
Ergo, we're going to feel it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And then you go out looking for things that give you that emotion.
Yeah.
One of the best ways to represent that is your savings and your money.
Yeah.
Right? It's
and
scary.
it really is. Money's a really big subject. We're going to come back to that lots of times, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because also, if like you start getting money in your savings, then another fear kicks in. Oh, what if someone takes it? What if I lose it?
Yep.
How disappointing will that be? You know, it's like, you know, it's not a place that you get to and then you stay there. Like the roller coaster of emotion is like all over, a daily thing, isn't it? One day you can feel abundant, the next day you go, oh no, but I've just had a massive bill in for my car.
Exactly.
What is it about cars? They always go wrong. Just when like, isn't that a thing?
Yeah, when you've won some money on a scratch card, like I won 86 quid on a scratch card on a lottery. Sorry,
£87 car bill.
I'm not even kidding. It was 86 quid. I went out with him in the car broke down, and it was 86 quid to get repaired.
No, really. I mean,
literally.
Look at that. Great, there's the money, you need it. But like, oh, go shopping. No, I can't. I have to fix my car.
But glass ceiling. You know,
disappointment. Yay! Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, we must sound really good on a podcast.
This is why I don't like roller coasters, by the way. It's horrible. Oh no, it's too emotional. I feel it.
Not good, is it? It's not good. And so on that note, shall we do some energy work?
Yes, please. I am proper triggered.
So it doesn't have to be about money. It can be whatever. I'm just going to do a very, very simple thing now, because I've realized actually that it's so far reaching. I'm going to do it in a really simple way that you can just follow along and fill in the blanks, and you can focus on whatever is feeling like disappointment to you right now. And you don't even have to tell me what that is. For those of you listening, you just get to tune in. Okay, so Jemima, if you just connect with your body a second, either one or two hands over your heart or your chest, and get your feet flat on the floor if they're not already. And just take a couple of nice, deep, slow breaths into the belly for me. Very nice. And I'm just going to invite you to tune in to a situation, a person, a place, something that happened maybe that felt disappointing to you. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the mind-body connection of it. So where do you feel that disappointment in your body right now?
I feel it in my stomach and a little bit in my throat. Just got a little bit of tension going on there.
Okay. Does it have a color, a shape, a texture, a temperature?
Okay, slightly weird. It feels like a haggis in my stomach. It's kind of grey, sort of solid. Solid ball. But yeah, haggis came to mind.
Lovely.
And my throat is like kind of grey gauze, sort of finer, but grey and restrictive. Okay.
And which of those two, and it's okay if they're the same, does one of them feel more intense than the other?
They're about the same. They're both about a 6 out of 10.
6. Okay.
I feel like my stomach is kind of the key, and the throat is like almost like a gatekeeper, for want of a better phrase, sort of trapping some emotion in there.
Yeah. Okay. And so for those of you listening along, you can pause the podcast if you want to, and just either make a mental or a physical note of those questions that I asked and get your own answers, because then what I'm going to do with Jemima is I'm going to show you in my fill in the blanks method, whereby I'm going to miss out keywords. I'm just going to say, I feel it in my whatever, wherever you feel it. And you get to say where you feel it. So you can adjust this to what you're experiencing. So
we can add a download with that, can't we, as well? People to a PDF, people to print off. Absolutely.
So I'm just going to have you start tapping on the side of your hand. And I'm just going to have you repeat after me. Even though I've got this solid grey haggis in my stomach.
Even though I've got this solid grey haggis in my stomach.
And this restrictive grey gauze in my throat.
And this restrictive grey gauze in my throat.
Right here and right now.
Right here and right now.
I'd like to feel.
I'd like to feel.
However would you like to feel?
I would like to feel relaxed and easy about this disappointment.
Wonderful. Staying on the side of the hand, even though I can feel this disappointment in my body.
Even though I can feel this disappointment in my body.
I can feel it in my...
I can feel it in my stomach and my throat.
Right here and right now.
Right here and right now.
I know I can choose to relax.
I know I can choose to relax.
Even though I'm feeling this disappointment.
Even though I'm feeling this disappointment.
When I think about this thing.
When I think about this thing.
Right here and right now.
Right here and right now.
I can choose to feel relaxed.
I can choose to feel relaxed.
Okay. And then we're going to go to the eyebrow point, right at the start of the eyebrow. This disappointment in my body.
This disappointment in my body.
Outside of the eye. I can feel it in my...
I can feel it in my stomach and in my throat.
Mm-hmm. Under the eye. It feels like, and then just describe it.
It feels like tightness in my throat and heaviness in my stomach. It's changing already.
Okay. Good stuff. And under the nose, I'd really love to let some of this disappointment go.
I'd really love to let some of this disappointment go.
Does that feel true to say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'm asking Jemima that because we want to see if there's any resistance there. So far there isn't, which is awesome. On the chin, this sensation in my, wherever you feel it.
This sensation in my throat, which is now stronger than my stomach, by the way.
Okay. Interesting. Under the collarbones, all this disappointment in my body.
All this disappointment in my body.
Under the arm, and all the ways it impacts me.
And all the ways it impacts me.
Top of the head. I think I'm ready to let some more of it go now.
I think I'm ready to let some more of it go now. Excuse me.
Lovely, well done. All right, come to a stop. Take a nice deep breath. And just have a stretch or a drink if you need to. I'm going to check back in. Now, this is, you know, some of the very fundamentals of the EFT that I teach, but it's a really nice way to kind of do it because you empower the other person to be able to fill in the blanks. So I am using some of the words you gave me, but also just keeping it general of this sensation, you know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be too specific. So let's check in. How do you feel now? Like, how intense is it, the disappointment
well,
now?
the stomach has gone right down to like a 1 out of 10, maybe 2. It's moved down a little bit. There's still like a shadow of it, I'd say. So it sort of feels sort of full, if I can say that. But it's much less. And the throat, it's more like a kind of tightness through my throat. I'm having to swallow less. I was needing to swallow quite a bit before. But it's moved up into my ears a little bit. So it's moving energy, which is always a sign, isn't it? If you've got a sensation and it moves when you're doing tapping, it shows it's energetic, not physical.
Yes.
Like it's emotional, not physical.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that.
It's a good sign for people to recognize.
Okay. And just so we can track it, how intense does it feel in your throat area now? That's
like 3 or 4. It's pulsing a little bit. There's a bit of fear in letting it go.
Okay. You're psychic. That was going to be my next question. It's amazing. Ask yourselves, for those of you listening, how do I feel about feeling this way? That is a really key question, because once you identify your own self-judgment around the issue, because there's the issue, how it feels, and then how you even feel about feeling this or having this, whatever, that can act like what we call an outer casing, right, to keep it in. And I know I'm not trying to do an EFT tutorial here, but I'm trying to help you understand that these feelings will come up. Like some people might say, well, I feel ridiculous for feeling this way, or, you know.
Yeah. The conscious mind goes, well, I know this isn't true, or I shouldn't feel like that. But you do feel like that. Part of you feels like that. Even if you, like, people often when I'm working with them will start explaining away their emotion. Like, how do you feel? Oh, I feel this, but it's not really the case, which is just straight away taking you off the focus, isn't it? Which is self-defense.
And it shows you that you're up in your head and not really in your body enough, so the reason that we're doing this, and I'll tap again in a second, but it's so that you can sit with it, right? The whole point of EFT and the whole point of looking at these emotions in this podcast is because we're trying to give a voice to the truth of how we really feel. Because when we don't do that and we push it down or cast it aside, stick a pin in it, whatever, it will come back to bite you on the ass because it's a sign and it's trying
still
to
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not trying to banish it. We're not trying to get rid of it. We're just trying to listen, right? What are you trying to tell me? So with that said, let's go again. You happy to go again?
Yeah.
See what happens. Okay, so on the side of the hand, because there's still a little bit of stuff coming up there. So even though there's still some tightness in my throat or wherever you feel it, listeners.
Yeah. Even though there's still some tightness in my throat and heaviness in my stomach. Just want to acknowledge that. It's still there a little bit.
Yeah. And a little bit of fear coming up about letting it go.
And a little bit of fear coming up about letting it go.
Right here and right now.
Right here and right now.
I honor that this is my truth.
I honor that this is my truth.
Even though I can feel some fear in my body.
Even though I can feel some fear in my body.
What's going to happen if I let this go?
What's going to happen if I let this go?
Right here and right now.
Right here and right now.
I'm honoring the truth of how I feel.
I'm honoring the truth of how I feel.
Even though it's scary to let this go.
Even though it's scary to let this go.
And I may or may not know the reason why.
And I may or may not know the reason why.
But right here, right now.
Right here and right now.
I'm going to honor this fear.
I'm going to honor this fear.
And any other emotion that comes up.
And any other emotion that comes up.
Okay. So we're going to go up to the eyebrow. And we're just going to say, this remaining tightness in my throat.
This remaining tightness in my throat. I just need to mention, and I've got a belief that keeps coming into my head. So sometimes we get words that come. Yeah. As if I succeed, it might be taken away from me. That's the fear.
There you go. Okay. Wonderful.
Fear of loss, fear of abandonment, basically.
Well done. Okay.
Thanks.
Outside of the eye. I think I know where this fear is from.
I think I know where this fear is from.
Under the eye. I don't want it to be taken away from me.
I don't want it to be taken away from me.
Under the nose. If I'm successful.
If I'm successful.
Chin. I may lose it somehow.
I might lose it somehow.
Collarbones. So maybe it's safer if I feel the disappointment.
So maybe it's safer if I feel the disappointment.
Because if I, under the arm, because if I let that go completely.
Because if I let that go completely.
Top of the head. I might be open to losing the good stuff.
I might be open to losing the good stuff.
I'm going to carry on doing one more round because we're in the thick of it now. Okay.
Yeah.
The eyebrow. All this fear in my body.
All this fear in my body.
Outside of the eye. I wonder if it's possible.
I wonder if it's possible.
Under the eye. That this fear shows me how much I want this.
That this fear shows me how much I want this.
Under the nose. It's a powerful signpost for me.
It's a powerful signpost for me.
Chin. And fear is the same as excitement, but without the breath.
Fear is the same as excitement, but without the breath.
So down to the collarbone. So I'm choosing to breathe life into this fear.
So I'm choosing to breathe life into this fear.
Under the arms. In a way that turns it into excitement.
In a way that turns it into excitement.
Top of the head. And I'm going to give myself permission to let this disappointment go.
And I'm going to give myself permission to let this disappointment go.
Okay. Let's just stop and check in because we've got a little bit of eyebrow action going on, a little bit of shaky head, some smiles. Yeah. And I can see that some things have come up. So do tell what's going on for you.
Well, when you start talking about excitement, I do have a little spark of excitement in my tummy going, oh, because I'm doing a lot of new things this autumn, next year, got some plans. And it's like when they work, this is all going to unfold.
Yeah.
Things I've tried before, I'm doing it slightly differently. So it's just like, yeah, it can work. I can be successful. I am successful. Like that's the spiraling up that's happening rather than the spiraling down.
I love that. And let's just pin that comment if it can imagine that, because we're talking about the emotional guidance scale here, I guess, or referring to it. You know, if you listen to Abraham Hicks and the emotional guidance scale, you'll know what we're talking about. If you don't, you can go and Google it. It's fantastic. And it just says that every emotion, as we talked about at the start of this podcast, really has a vibration. and they're catching, right? So you reach for the next better feeling thought, and then it's catching, and it leads you up the spiral rather than down. And you've got about 17 seconds to catch yourself. Right?
Yeah. If you can hold a feeling for 17 seconds or a thought, another one's going to join it, then another one's going to join it. And that is true, whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
And because our training is about disappointment or about things not working out, and, we're not meant to be happy or whatever, that's quite a strong pull. It's easy to fall into that. So it's kind of harder work, if you like, to move up. But once you are on that, you've got the momentum and you're moving in that direction, it gets easier and easier. And that's the work, isn't it, really, to choose the direction of the spiral.
It absolutely is. And there are some key phrases that we'll be spouting as we go through this podcast that will literally create a little reframe in the mind. And the mind goes, oh, yeah, like fear is just anxiety without the breath, because it's physiologically in the body. It's the exact same process. So by breathing life into the fear, I'm not making it worse. I'm actually turning it into excitement, which is amazing, right? So
So the thought of standing up in front of people giving a talk, maybe you get butterflies in your tummy, sweaty palms. Ooh, maybe the thought of, I don't know, going on holiday to your favorite place gives you excitement in your tummy, sweaty palms. It's the same physical response.
Yeah,
you look forward to it or you dread it.
Absolutely that.
The thoughts that go with it.
Exactly. So let's just have a quick check-in with you.
Yeah,
where you are, because I know we're wrapping this up in a few minutes, aren't we? But I don't want to leave you unless you're feeling amazing. So tell me where you are on the scale.
I'm good. My stomach is now little excited gold kind of sparkles. I'm very visual, by the way, and I feel everything. So that's the kind of that's what it feels like. Little gold bubbly. I've got those Ferrero Rocher, like that gold bloopy bloop, and they drop it in.
Yeah.
And we all know Ferrero Rocher is the epitome of.
Oh, they're really spoiling us, aren't they?
I know, they're really.
With this tapping, you are really spoiling us.
Exactly. So I've got Ferrero Rocher in my tummy. I have a slight little resistance in my throat. That tension is still there. It's like a half. I have had a bit of a cough recently, so it might just be that. It might be that physical. It's not in my ears. There's just this little tiny little bit left in my throat, but the rest of my body is feeling. I'm sort of itching to get going and like do some stuff, which is a really lovely feeling. Like feeling inspired.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't have to get down to a 0 for transformation to happen, right? So on that note, are you happy to leave with a half still there?
Yeah.
It does dissipate, doesn't it, over time?
And I was once called the emotion police by saying you can have a 2 out of 10 or less.
Love it.
Any more than that, she's like, oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Emotions 2.5. I'll get it down to a 2. Exactly. You're allowed a 2. But anything less than a 2 is like, that's what I would aim for, a 2 or below when I'm working with somebody, because that's, we're meant to feel emotions. We're not trying to get rid of them. They're there for a purpose. We don't know if disappointment will have joy. The level of disappointment reflects the level of joy that you can have.
Oh, that's a mic drop, right? We need some merch for all this stuff.
We're gonna be like, I'm gonna have 3 hats on.
Yeah, 2 right. I'm gonna have 4 t-shirts, all with a different.
Exactly. I actually need them. I'm freezing. I need a couple of jumpers today.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, look, I know that this has been quite a deep one for people, so do reach out and let us know how this was. The same with any of these episodes. Let us know any aha moments that you've got. Hit us up on social, on our Instagram stuff. Check out the show notes if you need anybody's links or anything. But I would love to know how this went for you and how easy you found it to tap on a very basic level, right, on something so deep, and get that mind-body connection. If you always ask your body, you'll never go wrong.
Exactly. You have all the answers within you, and we're always just guiding people to their own conclusions. They're doing the work. They're doing the tapping. They're doing they're having the realizations and the shifts.
We just work it.
It's all about exactly.
We just work it. It's fine.
Oh, I'm excited to report next time of what amazing things have happened, because it feels like I've just shifted something big. There's no more haggis in my tummy.
Yowza. No more haggis. I love that. There's a hashtag in there.
There really is. I haven't had haggis for a long time.
In fact, I'm going to go and put that on social right now.
I am haggis free.
Yes. I really hope you enjoyed it anyway. And I guess we'll see you again next time.
Next time.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Take it
Take
easy.
it easy. Bye.
Bye.